My name is Lou Sampson. I'm with the Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers, and I'm so glad that John Forey invited us here today. This is my partner, Sylvia Bencomo, that helps me out. The Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers has been in Green Valley for 33 years now. Last year, we donated over 75,000 hours to this community and surrounding areas. So that's a lot of work we do. And I'll tell you, we have 134 volunteers now, and without your help and your supporting us, we wouldn't be here because we get no money from the Sheriff's Office. So we appreciate every little bit you help us with. If you look on the back of this paper, it's just a few things that we do. Some of you don't know that we do all these things. You see us patrolling around your neighborhood, and when you go away for the summer, some of you call us and have us check your homes. And what we do is we walk around the perimeter of your home, the outside. We are looking for open doors, open windows, for water running. About 3 months ago, I was on patrol, and I found a sliding door that was open. Our protocol is we have to call a deputy. The deputy comes. We are not allowed to go in. We have to step away from it. The deputy comes. He pulls his weapon, so his weapon is drawn because he doesn't know whether it's a bad guy or just somebody forgot, maybe their homeowner is home and forgot to lock the door. So he went in with his weapon drawn, checked out the house. The lady was just happening to get out of the shower. That's why she didn't hear us ring the bell. So please, when you come back from vacation, give us a call and let us know you're home. Or something like that might happen to you. We also are bailiffs in the courts. So if you would like to know what's going on in Green Valley, come and volunteer for us and find out what's going on in the courts. You'll see we have a bike patrol now. If any of you are bikers, please come and join us. We also have a community service department, which if you have a loved one that has Alzheimer's or dementia, we like to come and we'd like to get their information. We take a photo of them, get any medications they might be on, if they wonder where they would like to go, maybe to the park, or maybe to a rec center, or maybe a restaurant. But we put all that information on a sheet of paper. We take it to the sergeant's office in a file. It's locked up, so that information doesn't go anywhere. It is classified and locked up. But if that person happens to wander, the sergeant can go through that file, and if his name is there and that information is there, it pops up. They can make copies of it for the search and rescue team. We know what he looks like. We know where he might wander. And we've been lucky enough to find 2 or 3 people with help the search and rescues. We've been able to find them. So that's a really nice project. Another thing we do is Neighborhood Watch. And I did Neighborhood Watch for 3 or 4 years when I first came into the Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteer. And as I was doing Neighborhood Watch, I would hear these comments about, oh, this guy called me. Grandma, I'm in trouble. And I hear these stories about the lottery, and I'm going to win the lottery. And I think, wow, I just couldn't find any information out there on what to do about this because people were getting these calls. And what happened is we were fortunate enough to get a gift from the Dr. Scholl's Foundation. And with that gift, they tasked us to create a new program for the citizens of Green Valley. So we couldn't use it for our cars, for our uniforms, for utilities, for any of our expenses. It had to be something new. And what we did is we got 5 of our really creative and talented people. We put them in a room and we said, you're not coming out until you come up with something. And this is what they came up with. This 3-pronged approach. It is very, very simple and effective. It works. It's just not easy. We are not used to hanging up telephones. We are nice people. And what we did is we made these flyers. And we took them all over to the merchants And especially the bankers, because where do you go to get money? The banks. So we told the bankers what we were doing. We took it to Safeway because they have Western Union, they have money orders. We took it to the post office because they have money orders. We went to Walmart, told them what we were doing, and they put one up out there. So after we went around town and we got this information around town, we kind of hit a plateau, and we didn't know what else to do. And so for about 6 or 7 months, we just didn't know what else to do. And then a friend of mine, after me, I was at, she came up to me and she said, Lou, I just can't believe what's going on. She said, her husband, who was a retired engineer, he managed 250 people in his work career. She said he's getting these phone calls, and he's getting maybe 16, 17 phone calls a day, and they start early in the morning. And she said, I am afraid because all of our married life, he has handled the money, all of the bank accounts, credit cards, everything, all the money. And she said, if he gives them any money, we could lose everything. And I'm really frightened and I don't know what to do. And I thought, okay. I told her, I said, I'm going to go home, put on my uniform, go down to the office, get a patrol car. I'm going to get these 2 extra pieces of information that you have, and I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to talk to him. Well, she said, okay, that's great. So I got the information, went down, sat right there and looked him in the eye. It was probably 25, 30 minutes that I talked to him. Well, he said, they know where CVS Pharmacy is on Continental. And I said, Google Map. He was absolutely certain that they were going to pull up in a truck with $450,000 cash and give it to him. He was absolutely certain. This guy's not dumb, but boy, was he, they had him hook, line, and sinker. And so I sat there and talked, and he said, well, they know where my home is. They know what kind of car I drive. Well, you know what? All of this is public information. They can get everything, so they make it sound really authentic, like they know what they're talking about. So as I was talking to him, I could kind of see a light go on in his head that, okay, I'm getting it. And I said, what I want you to do is I want you to take this and put it right by that telephone where they call you. And when they call you, I want you to just look at that and hang up. Don't play with them. Don't be cute. Don't be funny. You just hang it up. He said, okay. So I did. About 2 weeks later, I talked to her. And I said, how's it going? And she said, oh, I can't believe the difference. I just can't believe the difference. She said, the phone calls have diminished. He's not answering the telephone. He's just hanging it up. And she said, I went in to clean his office the other day. And I was putting books away, and I was putting papers away, and I was stacking them. And she said, do you know, she took this and she put some papers on top of it. She was stacking them. He said, stop. He said, you put that right back there by the telephone. And I just went, yippee skippy. This is going to work. And that's when the Scam Squad was born. And really, all we do extra is when we go out on a patrol, if somebody calls and said they got a telephone call from one of these scammers, we get that name and address and we go visit them in person. And we give them those 2 pieces of information you have, and we sit down and talk to them, instead of taking the report over the phone. And one reason we do that is hopefully that when that patrol car is out front of that house, maybe the neighbors will see that patrol car, and afterwards, maybe they're nosy, or maybe they're curious, or who knows, maybe they're concerned, that they will come and they will say, is everything okay? And you can share that information with them, because we cannot possibly get to every citizen in Green Valley. We're counting on you to help us spread the word. We also have an article in the Green Valley News. Have you been reading it? It's a great article. So one of the ladies on our squad writes that article. We also have a place at KGBY in Green Valley, the radio station, the first Monday of every month at 12 o'clock, turn it on and you'll hear us and you'll hear about scams. We work very closely with our commission deputies. These are some of the things that we work with them on, some different things, but we work very closely with scams because when they have to go out and take a report of somebody that's lost $2,000 or $5,000 or $15 or $20 or $50,000, they get really, really upset because they know that could be their grandmother or their grandfather. And they know how hard we work for our money. And they know it's gone. It will never come back. So that's why we're out here trying to give you some tips on how to keep yourself safe. Because once this money's gone, we cannot retrieve it. Some people call them scammers. I think that's way too nice a name. I call them sludge balls, slime balls, scuzz balls. And what they really are con artists. And they're very, very, very good at what they do. I had a call from a banker the other day, and he said, please go talk to this gentleman. A man came into the bank, and he said he needed $1,800 cash now. And the banker said, how come? And he said, well, because my grandson called, and he's in Mexico, and he's in trouble. And the banker said, please, call your grandson. He said, no, I can't. It's too dangerous. He told me not to call, and I just need that money. Well, it is his money. So he ran back home. The grandson called again and said, go to Walgreens and get a Green Dot card. Are you familiar with Green Dot cards? They are prepaid credit cards. You give them $800 cash and they'll put that on a card. And so what he did is he got $1,800 on the cards. Came home, they called him. You wipe the cover off the back like you do a credit card or a lotto ticket, you wipe that off. Once you give them those numbers and the safety number, the security number, it's theirs. That money is out of the country. It is gone. So the next day, the man comes in the bank again. And he said, well, my grandson called again and said he's in big trouble again. And it was actually a man from the American Embassy in Mexico City called and said, your grandson is in trouble again. If we don't get $2,500 right now, the cartel is going to kill him. Now that's really scary, especially if you're living alone. And if he told anybody he was scared they were going to kill him. So he got another $2,500, did the same thing. That's when we got called in, we went down, we talked to him, but it happens just like that, and he lost all that money. Now think about this. If your home were burglarized, if a guy came in, stole your TV, stole your computer, stole your car, stole your jewelry, you would make a report. You'd call the police and make a report. Well, some of that lost property might be found. There is a chance of that. If not, insurance is going to cover a lot of that loss. So you're not going to lose everything. If you lose any money in one of these scams, it's gone. So please tell your neighbors and tell your friends. This is the first scam I could find. 1588. So these guys have been around forever. And the scam was in Spain. A man was in the king's dungeon because the king had put him there because he wouldn't tell the king where the treasure was hidden. But if you would just give him a little money, he could bribe the guard, and then he would get out and he would split the treasure with you. So that's what they were doing in 1588, and now it has just gotten bigger and bigger and better. I had a banker call me one day and she said, oh, she was just distraught because this lady had received a letter in the mail from a man from Nigeria. And he had won the lottery in Nigeria, and it was $35 million. But he needed $3,500 to pay the taxes because he couldn't get the money till he paid the taxes. Could she please help?